All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Still Review Author Series. You've heard my book review, and now it's time to hear from the authors themselves. The question I want to pose is this. Can a subtle shift in focus really make that big of a difference in your business and in your income? Well, today's guest, Bob Burg, says absolutely yes. Bob is an author of a number of books on sales, marketing, and influence with total book sales of well over 1 million copies. His book, The Go-Giver, which the book I reviewed, co-authored with John David Mann, has sold over 500,000 copies, and it's been translated in over 21 languages. It's been reissued in a new and expanded edition with a foreword by Huffington Post founder and publisher Arianna Huffington. Bob is an advocate, supporter, and a defender of the free enterprise system, believing that the amount of money one makes is directionally proportional to how many people they serve. He's also an unapologetic animal fanatic and serves on the Board of Trustees of Furry Friends Adoption Clinic in his town of Jupiter, Florida. Bob, it is an honor to have you on.
Oh, the honor is mine. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, so I reviewed your book, The Go-Giver, on Periscope about a month ago. So for all my viewers whose memory isn't, as sharp as, I don't know, whoever has the best memory in the world, could you refresh our memories and give us a quick review of the 5 laws?
Sure, and it's a business parable, so it's a story, and it's about a guy named Joe, an ambitious, aggressive, up-and-coming, good guy, but very frustrated because he doesn't feel he has the kind of success that he feels he deserves. But it's really all about him, and that's one reason why. So he learns that shifting his focus, and this is really the key, shifting his focus from getting to giving. And when we say giving in this context, we simply mean constantly and consistently providing value to others. And that not only is that a nice way to live life and conduct business, it's also a very financially profitable way as well, and for very concrete reasons. Now, it's based, as you said, on 5 laws. Those are the laws of value, compensation, influence, authenticity, and receptivity. And we can go through those briefly if you'd like, whatever you'd like to do.
Yeah, really quick, just top level of them, because I have some questions on certain ones that I want to dive into.
Okay, well, the law of value simply says that you want to give more in value than you take in payment. That doesn't mean you're not making a profit. Go-givers make a great profit. It simply means that you're providing such an exceptional, amazing, fantastic experience to the buyer that they believe, rightly so, that they are receiving more in value or use value than what they've paid in cash value. And of course, as the salesperson or entrepreneur, you are selling your services or product at a higher price than what it costs you. So both of you make a profit when it's done correctly. It's understanding the difference between price, which is finite, and value.
Yep.
The law of compensation says your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. So where law number 1 says to give more in value than you take in payment, law number 2 tells us that the more people whose lives you touch with that exceptional value, the more money with which you'll be rewarded. Law number 3 is the law of influence. That says your influence is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests first, which does not mean that you are self-sacrificial or a martyr, right? No, It simply means you understand that, as Joe learned in the story, the golden rule of business says that all things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to those people they know, like, and trust. And there's no faster, more powerful, more effective way to elicit those feelings toward you than by genuinely and authentically stepping outside yourself, moving from an I focus to an other focus.
Yeah.
Law number 4, the law of authenticity, says the most valuable gift you have to offer is yourself. Show up as yourself day after day, week after week, month after month. It's good for business, and it's a good way of doing business. And law number 5, the law of receptivity, says the key to effective giving is to stay open to receiving. It means not only do we breathe out, we have to breathe in. We give and receive. It's not one or the other, but we focus on the giving of value to everyone whose lives we touch, then we allow the receiving. It's also why we say that my great co-author, John David Mann, and me, that money is simply an echo of value.
I love that quote.
Thank you.
Love it. Love, love, love it. I mean, I highlighted it and underlined it, and I actually put it, I think, as one of the titles of my Periscopes, because it's amazing. It's beautiful. Love it. We'll definitely get into, thank you, by the way, for that recap. We'll definitely get into talking about that last law, the law of receptivity. But so how can you give more in value? I know most people have had sales training. I already know this question, the answer to this question, but how can you give more in value without costing too much money?
Sure. Well, and it is important to do that. And the reason why is because technology has basically leveled off the playing field.
Mm-hmm.
Most products today, they work well, they're relatively inexpensive, and even the services that are provided. You know, an accountant is an accountant. Now, there's some that are better than others, of course.
Yeah.
But basically, if you know how to do it, that's the stepping off point. I mean, you've got to be able to be good at what you do to be in
Yeah.
so we assume, right? And so if the buyer doesn't see any significant difference within a product or a service, it's always going to come down to who has the lowest
Nice.
price. And I suggest that unless your last name is Walmart, and it is most of us, selling on low price is not a good way to do business. It's not a healthy way. It's not a fun way. It's very not sustainable. If you sell on low price, or let's just say if you sell on price, you're a commodity. If you sell on value, you're a resource. So we need to be able to sell on value. How? We become that additional value. Now, how? Well, there are hundreds of ways to communicate value to others that don't take a lot of extra money or any money at all. They tend to come down to 5 what we call elements of value. And they are excellence, consistency, attention, empathy, and appreciation. And to the degree that you can communicate one or more, hopefully all 5 of those, in every touch point, from the minute you meet someone through the process and afterwards, that's the degree that you separate yourself from the competition and you take price out of the equation.
Love it. Awesome. Awesome. And I think, so talking about also this law of value, law of compensation, one part in the book that I remember when I read it, I was like, oh, that's interesting. And a lot of my followers are early stage entrepreneurs. So this is really critical for them is when you and John wrote that, does it make money? That's, not a bad question, but it's not it's a great question, but it's not the correct first question.
Right.
Yeah. And can you clarify that? Because so many people are like, but I need to pay my bills. Like, why would that not be the first question?
Oh, absolutely. And that's a fantastic question to ask because it goes back to a premise, if you will, that focusing on the money is what's going to bring you money.
Mm,
And yet it doesn't work that way. And here's why. Because nobody's going to buy from you because you need the money.
that's true.
They're not going to buy from you because you have a quota to meet or a nut to crack this month. They're not going to because you have payroll. No, they're going to buy from you because they believe it is of more value to them to do so than to not do so. So the first thing we have to ask is, will it serve? Is there a market for it? Do people want it? Do they need it? Can they afford it? Now, there are some things we take into a marketplace. We have to sell on the need itself. Obviously, nobody said before Apple came out with the iPhone or the iPad or the music or the
iPod.
I'm so
There you go.
yeah, I'm so I couldn't even remember iPod. Nobody said, "Oh, I need an iPod." No, he came up with it and then he sold but it still had to be, did it serve? Is it something people were going to want? Because you can have the best product or service in the world, but if people don't know about it or don't feel as though they want it or need it, if they don't think it's going to serve, remember, we were talking about value. Value is always in the eyes of the beholder. It's not whether we think it's of value, it's whether they do. In his great book, The Purple Cow, Seth Godin talked about an invention in 1912 by Friedrich von Wieder that actually sliced bread, pre-sliced bread, right? Before it was even packaged. So, well, we even say today the greatest thing since sliced bread, right? So it's sold right away, right? No. It languished for 20 years until a company called Wonder started using it when they packaged there, and all of a sudden. So again, will it serve? Sure. Is there a market for it? And it would serve, but also, is there a market? Are we willing to do what it takes to get that out there to the marketplace? There are a lot of things. So if you just think, will it make money? Well, what's going to happen is you're focused in the wrong way. Making money is great. A business needs to make money. We should make money. We should be, and we are by nature, a very abundant species, if you will.
Yeah.
We've created things out of nothing in order to. But if you focus on the money, then really you're focused on yourself. If you're focused on, does it serve? Now you're focused on the consumer. And in a free market-based economy, where the main characteristic of such is that no one is forced to buy from anyone else, you must focus. You must focus on them. You must focus on, does it serve?
Yeah, awesome. I love it. The money will come. And I'm glad. So that's a really good segue. While rereading the book, by the way, for everyone watching, this is a book you definitely need to reread. You'll notice something different each time you reread it. So I was in the portion where it was in the Joe was talking with Nicole about, making money. And she had mentioned that one of the things is that she became scared of being successful because of her preconceived notion of being rich versus being good, which is funny because most people go into business because they're like, I want to be rich, but then that subconscious block of being rich is bad. What are some things you found helpful to change the story in your head?
Well, first, it's questioning premises. It always comes down to questioning premises. And when you see a news story, or you hear people talking, or you hear politicians saying certain things that seem to denigrate people who've earned money or what have you, just ask yourself, well, why? What are they saying? Where did they learn this? What principle is it based on? Then it's also understanding that what story doesn't sell in media? Here's a story that doesn't sell. Corporate CEO treats people fairly.
Right?
That's the majority of people, right? But that doesn't sell. Yeah. Okay. So we need to just question our premises and ask why. And then my friend Randy Gage, who is he's just such an expert on abundance and prosperity, and a guy who really came from a dysfunctional background and that all the money issues and memes that he talks about and was able to turn that around. And I read his blog, Randy Gage's Prosperity blog. I tune into Randy Gage's Prosperity TV. And here's the reason why. Not only does he help shift the message about money and about prosperity, but it's something that, because by the very nature of the world around us, we're constantly getting negative messages about money, and we don't always guard them like we think we do. We need to consciously put into our minds good, healthy information about money. Randy Gage, Bob Proctor, there's a number of others, and I'm just not thinking of names, but study prosperity. Wallace Wattles on his book from
The Science of Getting Rich.
Yeah, talked about, don't make a study of poverty. Don't make a study of, make a study of abundance. That's how you're going to help people. Now, that doesn't mean don't give charity. Of course, charity is a very, very high value. Help those who can't help themselves. By and large, help people to not need charity. But of course, take care of people. But don't make a study of poverty. Make a study of abundance. Teach abundance to others.
Yes, love it, love it. Shift the focus. Great, really liked it. All right, so now moving on into the law of influence. I really like it because it completely shakes up our notion of networking. And I just came back from a week at CEO Space and complete different vision of what true networking ought to be like. Can you share some ways for people to help build their influence in a true go-giver fashion?
Well, the first thing is understand that, when in network, first again, let's define networking, because so many people, they hear the word networking. What do they think? The fast walking, slick talking sales guy, right?
Yes.
Glad hands, backhand, shakes hands, slaps hands, sticks a business card aggressively into people's face and says, hey, give me a call, cut you a deal, or you or somebody you know needs a witch moosie. You're free. Anyhow, or let's do lunch, right? All those. It's not networking. I don't know what that is, but it's not networking. So let's give it a different definition for us to work from. I define networking as simply the cultivating of mutually beneficial give and take or receive win-win relationships. The cultivating of mutually beneficial give and take or receive win-win relationships. The emphasis on the give part. When you do this correctly, with a genuine caring about the other person and their wants, their needs, their desires, now you're creating the context where someone wants to get to know you, where they want to be in relationship with you. And so the first thing we do is we focus on them. We ask questions about them. We ask them what they do. When they ask us what we do, we don't give them an elevator speech. We just simply say what line of work we're in. Because remember, right now, their interest level in us and what we do can be best summarized in 3 words. They don't care. That's okay, right? No,
Yeah.
but so let's be interested in them. Let's ask them what I call feel-good questions, questions which are not salesy in nature, that are not, that don't make a person feel pressured, right?
Yes.
Just questions such as, how did you get started in the so-and-so business or the so-and-so profession? What do you enjoy most about what you do?
Yeah.
And the question I really like, what I call the one key question that will separate you from the rest. And I've had people tell me their careers, their businesses have been changed by asking this question. And that is, Dave or Mary, I always love connecting good people with other good people. How can I know if someone I'm speaking with is a good prospect for you?
I like that. That's a
So this is
good
how we
one.
establish value within a first conversation, and that begins the influence process. Again, it needs to come from a genuine and authentic place.
Yes. I love that. Oh my goodness. That is great. Coolio. All right. And so lastly, now I'm saving this because a lot of people, especially of those of us who have grown up, for example, for me, I came from an immigrant family, came to the United States, we're the bootstrap kind of people. I'm going to go get it done and I can do this attitude.
Yeah. And bless your hearts. Bless your hearts. We applaud.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. But a lot of us have a hard time with the last law because we're so accustomed of, I'm going to do it myself, but the law of receiving and of, saying, yes, I will receive. Can you talk about why receiving is so important?
Well, again, it's holistic. You can't do one thing. You can't just give. You can't just give and not receive without drying up the waters. Okay, you can't just receive and not give without drying up the waters. You look at the Dead Sea in Israel, right? It comes from a beautiful, beautiful stream of water, but once it's there, it receives it, but then doesn't do anything with it. So it's not healthy, right? It would be the same if all it did was give tribute into the main river going by, but never receive. There wouldn't be anything there.
Yeah.
So we simply have to reframe and reposition how we look at giving and receiving, especially receiving in this case. Because if you are out there providing value to others, again, the value comes first. If you've gone out there and you are providing value to others, you earned the right, not the entitlement, the right to receive. And you can be proud of doing so. And understand that when you're both giving and receiving, all tides rise. And you're lifting everyone up, yourself and the other person. That's what creates an economy. This is why free market capitalism works so well. It helps everyone. It serves everyone in the process and ends up even serving those who don't participate in the free market system.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. All right, Bob, those were all the questions I had in mind. Is there anything in particular that you wanted to share about the book that you didn't get a chance to share?
No, I mean, I think you did a great job. And I just, it was just a pleasure to be on your show. And I'm so grateful that you've enjoyed the book and found it to be of value and found it worthy enough, worthy to share with your audience. So thank you so much for having me as a guest.
You're welcome. And Bob, where can my viewers find you or get in touch with you?
The best thing to do would be to go to the Go Giver without the hyphen in this case, thegogiver.com. And when they're there, they'll see, when they scroll down, they'll see the Go Giver podcast, which has really caught on fast. Those are like usually about 20 minutes, so they're fast and quick. And they can find information on the books themselves and download a chapter of the book to see if they like it first, and they can click through from there. We have our Go Giver Certified Speaker Program and the Go Giver Sales Academy. So lots of good things on the site. And so come by and visit and connect with me on social media as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Bob. And for my viewers, I'll definitely have the links available on the title of this video. The Go Giver is also available for purchase on Amazon, you guys. And like I mentioned, this is one of those books you're going to want to reread. It's one of those books, I forget who mentioned that sometimes a book is like a building. You see it in your youth as a child. You see it, beginning of the day, in the middle of the day, and at the end of the day. And every time you get a new perspective. That's definitely what this book is like. It's written as a parable, and you get new perspectives each time you read. So I highly recommend you guys get it. All right. Thank you so much, Bob. Have a great day, everyone.